The Pacific Ocean is a beautiful lie. Thousands of miles from any solid ground, the water isn't just deep, it's an unyielding abyss that swallows light and hope alike. On the sun-drenched deck of the Blue Star, 26 strangers lived in a dream of luxury. The air smelled of expensive cologne, vintage champagne, and the arrogance of the wealthy. They didn't know each other, but they shared the same confidence that their money could buy safety even from the gods of the sea. The dream shattered in an instant. The horizon didn't just darken, it bruised, turning a sickly shade of purple and black. The temperature plummeted, and suddenly the air was thick with the suffocating scent of ozone and ancient, rotting sea life. Then came the rain. It wasn't water, it was a wall of liquid lead slamming into the yacht with enough force to shatter glass. "Brace for impact! The engines are dead! God help us, we're blind!" The captain's scream was barely audible over the roar of the gale. A massive wave, cold as a grave, lifted the 100-foot yacht and threw it like a toy onto the jagged obsidian teeth of a hidden reef. The sound of steel tearing open was like the cry of a dying beast. In those first seconds of chaos, 8 souls were crushed, their final screams silenced by the rushing salt water. 18 survivors crawled onto the black sand of an uncharted island. Their clothes were rags, their bodies were macked with bruises and blood. As the storm subsided into a heavy, oppressive drizzle, a terrifying realization set in. The island was silent. No birds, no insects, just the rhythmic, heavy thud of the waves against the rocks. In the dead of night, the silence was broken. It wasn't a sound at first, it was a vibration, a low-frequency hum that vibrated in their teeth and settled in the center of their brains. Then they appeared. From the mouth of a sea-worn cave, the sirens emerged. They were hauntingly, impossibly beautiful. Their skin possessed the ethereal glow of moonlight on oil. Their faces were masterpieces of symmetry, but their eyes were twin voids of absolute darkness that seemed to pull the very soul out of anyone who dared to look. 12 of the survivors stood up in a trance, their pupils dilated until their eyes were black. "Do you hear it? The peace, the warmth," whispered one man, his voice hollow as a tomb. Fear evaporated. Survival instinct died. They were no longer humans. They were instruments being tuned by a master. The remaining 6, led by Daniel and Laura, felt a different sensation, a primal, skin-crawling dread. "Don't listen! Close your ears! They are rewiring your minds!" Daniel shouted, his hands trembling as he tried to pull his friend back. But the magic was biological. The song bypassed the ears and spoke directly to the brain's motor cortex. The 12 chosen began to move with a synchronized, rhythmic precision. They picked up shards of razor-sharp coral and jagged volcanic glass. "The island must be protected. You are the infection," Alice said, her voice a monotone echo of the siren's will. The massacre was not a fight, it was a harvest. The 12 attacked with a terrifying lack of emotion. No anger, no hesitation. A husband lunged at his wife with a piece of coral, his face as calm as a sleeping child's. The rain washed away the distinction between the seawater and the blood. One survivor was dragged screaming into the surf, his fingers clawing at the sand until the darkness swallowed him. Another was cornered at the cliff's edge, executed by his own best friend. "Laura, we have to go! Now! Into the mangroves!" They hid in a narrow crevice deep within the island's interior. When Laura clicked on her dying flashlight, the beam revealed the true horror. The cave walls weren't stone, they were lined with calcified remains and half-living things. Creatures that had once been men were fused into the rock. Their skin was translucent, scales emerging from beneath their flesh. They were becoming the next generation of the island's guardians. In a final desperate act of survival, they found an emergency lifeboat caught in the reefs. As they roared away from the island, the song reached a crescendo, a high-pitched shriek of pure celestial hatred. "Don't look back, Laura. If you see them, you're gone." They were rescued, but the cost was their sanity. A month later, back in the city, Laura sits in her dark room. It's raining outside, and through the pitter-patter on the window, she hears it again. A low, melodic hum, a familiar, perfect vibration. You can leave the water, but the water never leaves you. Beauty is the most lethal weapon in the abyss, and the song is only just beginning.